Hi, this is PIWC Presec Legon chat room, and today being our Father's Day, we have a key player in our church and who is also a father here on our show to give us more education on who a father is. Without much ado, I would like to introduce to you Mr. Laud Hammond. So, Daddy, welcome to our show.
Thank you so much.
Now, I would like to ask who a father is.
Well, when we speak of a father, simply you can say that is the male parent of a child. But then, being a father goes beyond being the male parent of a child, because there are some who have taken care of people they have adopted, and in doing that, they have become fathers to them. So basically, when we talk about a father, it is not only about the biological father as we know, but somebody you might have adopted can also be a child to you and become a father to the person as well.
Why is this day celebrated and why is it beneficial to us?
Father's Day, as is being celebrated now, personally, I am not an advocate of this issue of Father's Day or Mother's Day, but for the role that fathers play in the lives of their family, I think they need to be celebrated. This celebration, for me, should not be singled out in a day, but an everyday affair. But like we always do, despite the fact that you are a father throughout life, we still have to get a day that we celebrate you, just to show your worth of who you are and what you have been doing in your family.
What are the duties of a father to 1, the children, 2, the wife, 3, the parents and the community?
When we talk of duties of a father to the children, yes, but then to the wife, then it more or less becomes the duties of a husband to the wife. If we read Ephesians 6:4, the Bible admonishes us that we shouldn't provoke our children to anger, but then we should teach them in the discipline of the Lord. So, being a father, the first thing that I see that you have to do is to 1, the discipline of God, because the Bible teaches us that we should train the child the way he should go, so that when he is old, he will not depart from it. And in doing so, we shouldn't provoke the children also to anger, because when you get somebody angry, that is the time that the fellow will start seeing you in a different way, and in doing so will not see the father that the child expects to see in you. So to the child, sometimes being a father for so many years now, I believe you need to be very calm with your children. You need to be very loving to them. Most of the time, we see the mothers getting closer to the children than the father. But then the father plays a very key role. And you realize that any time that he comes home or any time that he speaks, the whole place is silent. And so, once you have few times, or let's say fewer times, to show your presence in the house, you have to get that quality that is needed. That every word that should come out of you should be something that is worth listening to. So that the children can stand out and say that, wow, this is my father who is speaking.
Thank you.
But then if we talk about the duties of the father to the wife, like I said, when it comes to the wife, you are talking about more or less the duties of a husband. And like you know, the Bible teaches us that we should love our wives. And so that one is a constant. And loving your wife has no limitations. Whether you are happy, whether you are sad, whether you are angry, or whatever your mood, it's simple. You should love and love and love. And that, I think, is what the Bible admonishes us to do for our wives. God is always our strength. As a married man, I wouldn't say that is a simple thing to do. Sometimes you have challenges, but despite the challenges, you just look back and you listen to what the word of God says, and then you do just that. You will be angry, but in your anger, we make sure that the love is still kept intact. Because when you love somebody, anger will come, but you are able to push the anger aside. Things will happen, but you are still able to push those things aside. And so, I have been trying. I have been trying.
God bless you for that.
Thank you.
My next question, I want to know what makes one a good father. I'm asking this because, in the initial sense, somebody who did not get that father-child relationship may conclude that we don't have a good father. So I want to ask, what makes one a good father?
A good father. I wish a female will answer this question. Why? Because most of the time we see the females telling us about all the good things about their father, and then the male children saying otherwise. But then I believe, as a father, the question is, what legacy are you leaving for your children? The kind of legacy your children will see that you are leaving to them determines whether you are a good father or you are not. And to be a good father, your children should be able to emulate you. They should be able to follow your steps. Once your children are able to know who you are and come close to you and be able to ask you things that are bothering them, things that are on their mind, then I believe you are getting closer to your child, and that will make you a good father. Then one also, a good father should be a listening father. A listening father in the sense that the women do that very well, but when it comes to the men, we don't really relax and listen to what our children will have for us. The moment they open their mouth, then we tend to shout at them. But if you are a listening father and you listen to your children at all times and always want to give out the best answer to their questions, then they will like you. And so, being a good father, the child sometimes can best tell us. But to me, it is when you perform your duties as expected of you, then you are becoming a good father, being responsible at home. You don't neglect your duties. You don't allow your wife to take up all the responsibility, but you come in when the need be. And I think in doing so, you will be doing a good father.
Now, to our viewers, to be a good father, you should be a listening father. So if you're out there, you should be able to listen to your children. Will you be able to point out some things that will classify somebody to be a bad father?
Yes, Bible says it all that we shouldn't provoke our children to anger. Now, an angry person does a lot of things. And remember, let me take it for example, if you are in the classroom, when your student when your student excels, most of the time it is the student who is seen as being very good. But when the student doesn't excel, the children is not doing well, then it's seen as a bad teacher. And so whenever the negatives come, it comes to the instructor. And so the instructor, who this time or on this occasion happens to be the father, you just make sure that things are just put well. And the moment you fail in doing that, then to the whole world you become a very bad father. Just one mistake and you'll be taken as a bad person. People will forget probably all the good things you have been doing everywhere. And so you should just make sure that you avoid committing those petty mistakes as you try to be a father to your children. And that, I believe, is very key.
What is your favorite memory? Like, be the father, what's your favorite memory?
Well, my favorite memory. Interesting. I don't know how I can say this, but anytime I remember this happened not long ago, and I think it's one of the favorite things that I want to talk about every day. My eldest daughter was in school, and we were supposed to pick her up from school, and then I didn't go, but it was the mother that went. Now, when the mother went, she sent a message to our child that they've come to look for you, they've come to pick you up. They say your mother. No, the thing was your mother is looking for you, and she told me that they were like, my mother, and she was amazed that no, this one is not true, and she asked and asked again that are you sure? You said my mother. So she thought that the colleagues were telling her a lie until she realized that that was the truth. It was your mother who was actually looking for you, and I've come to pick you up. And so when she told me this, I said, wow, that means my daughter has some collection about me, that when it comes to this, it is daddy. And this singular thing that she told me will always want to treat her in a very different way. That it makes me stick to that position, that I should excel. I'm excelling in that aspect, and I should excel every time. So it's one memory that anytime it comes to mind, I get excited about.
Wow, personally, I'm also impressed. Fathers out there, this is something you should also do. Like, you should be able to create some kind of room for your children to be able to describe you. If you're not there, they should feel that kind of loneliness around them. So with this, I'm really impressed, and I bless God for the life of your daughter. What do you like best being a father?
Personally, in my home, even though I am the head of the house, I try to make things very liberal. Chief in command, but then I give a lot of room for everybody to operate. And so I love to see some things that I have put out that it should be done. I love to see it being done in the way I want it to be done. So when I sit back and realize that daddy has been saying this and they are doing just that, or daddy don't like this and they are not doing it, and the way sometimes the children will admonish each other when it comes to those things, then when I sit back, I enjoy it. I enjoy it, and I love it so much.
So in my own way, I would say, like, you have total control in your home in a flexible way.
In a flexible way, yes.
Okay.
You have said it right. My wife used to say something about me that daddy don't speak much, but if you are doing something and you look at daddy, then you will know what he wants to say. His expression alone is enough to tell you all that, hey, what you are doing is not good, you need to change it, or what you are doing is good, you need to move on. So personally, my actions, my emotions, or you look at me, it will speak louder than the words that I may come out, because I'm a man of very few words when it comes to the home.
For how long have you been married?
Married. I got married on 27th November 1999, and that makes it 21 good years. Come November 27th, I will be 21 years in marriage.
Congratulations, and still counting.
Yes, still counting. We believe God for more years.
I asked that because I believe with this journey you have been through so many things, raising up the child, being there for your wife, and other responsibilities. So I want to know some valuable lesson that you have learned as a father.
Lessons that I have learned as a father: one, I need to be close to my children. I don't have to distance myself from them. Two, I always have to listen to them and advise them appropriately. Three, I have to be very sensitive to their needs. Sometimes the child will have some needs you may think is not that necessary, but when you look at it in totality, you realize that, well, it doesn't spoil anything. It adds to the beauty of the home. Then you allow it to go. So I think we have to be flexible when it comes to those things. And then most importantly, you have to be a disciplinarian, so that where you fall short, the right things must be done. Not disciplining the child with the rod per se, but then you have to be a friend to your children. And being a friend, you should be able to converse with them and telling them what they are doing which is not good and what they are doing which they need to be encouraged and to move on. So these are some few things I believe that when we do that, then we'll be on the right way of being a good father.
If you are given a chance to use 3 words to describe who a father is, what 3 words will you use to describe?
Only 3 words. I will go for patience, I will go for understanding, and then I'll go for tolerance. Yes, these are the 3 words which I have in life, and it has worked so well for me. And I will always tell anybody who crosses my path that you have to be patient. You have to get a lot of understanding, and you should have that spirit of tolerance, and it will take you very far.
We bless God for having you on our show. We are really impressed, and I believe everyone out there has really learned a lot. Our daddy has really educated us on who a good father is, and as a father, you have to be patient, you have to be understanding, and you have to be tolerant, so that your children will be able to have that kind of friendly relationship with you. So our fathers out there, we strongly believe that we will take some lesson out of what our father has told us today. Thank you, and God bless you. See you next time.